Hello, everybody. It's mini lesson time. It's Tuesday, 11 a.m. Central Standard Time, and that's when I do these mini lessons. So we're going to get started here real soon. We're talking about mugwort. You can see that right above me, mugwort, Artemisia vulgaris. Artemisia vulgaris. So I'm just wait for some of you to catch up with the messages here that we're going to get started. And let me see if I can pull the comments over. There we are. Let me know if you're here. I should be able to see your comments over on my screen as well. So we're talking about mugwort today. Some tips and information and fun facts about mugwort, Artemisia vulgaris. Hello, Tina and Joan. Welcome. We are going to get started here in just about a minute. Everything looks ready and set. Hello, Sandy and Amy. All right, everybody. I'm going to actually be recording this for the next podcast, too, for the people who don't catch the lives, who want to revisit the information. They're going to be able to listen on a podcast. So welcome to this chat about mugwort, Artemisia vulgaris. That's what we're going to be talking about for the next about 15 minutes. And mugwort is a fun one to work with because it has these long history associated with it, and also just fun folklore facts with it. And we can play with the herb in many different ways. So I'm going to be talking about that. So it's mugwort, Artemisia vulgaris. And I know that mugwort is definitely a term that's used among people. And sometimes it's not mentioning, people aren't talking about the same thing. So mugwort and wormwood sometimes are kind of mixed, kind of depending where you are in the country or the world. Sometimes mugwort means one thing and wormwood means another. They're both in the same plant family. They're both Artemisias, but they do have some different uses historically and currently. So today I'm really want to talk about Artemisia vulgaris, and I'll weave in little bits about some of the other Artemisias. So I'm going to show a picture on the screen here of mugwort. So for those that are listening to the replay on podcast, if you want to go to my Full Circle Herbals website and look in the blog section, you'll see this picture as well. So here it is up on the screen. That is mugwort. Artemisia vulgaris is on the left. I'm circling it right now. I'm not really sure if you can see probably not, can't see. But you can see it says mugwort. So mugwort right there is very silver on the underside, silver or white, and green on the upper part of it. It does have many plants that they have lookalikes. But there's definitely ways to discern one from the other. Motherwort, the common motherwort and Siberian motherwort can look a lot alike. Ragweed can actually look quite a bit like mugwort, except that ragweed does not have that whitish coating on the other underside. Okay, and so here are some pictures of leaves. Here is mugwort on the left, Siberian motherwort in the middle, and then ragweed on the right-hand side. So when they're nicely next to each other and labeled, it's easy to discern which is which. But when you're in the garden, it can be tricky. Even for me, sometimes I have to stop and look at something and decide, is that ragweed? Am I going to take that one out of here or keep it? So I just wanted to show you some pictures of what mugwort looks like, because I've had many people say, oh, I have a whole patch of mugwort, and it turns out to be ragweed. So just something to consider. They do have different smells and flavors to them. Mugwort is very, I would say, more agreeable in scent. More people like the scent of mugwort, whereas motherwort and ragweed typically don't have that nice fragrant scent that most people associate with mugwort. Motherwort is in the mint family, so it has a square stem, and that's one thing. And ragweed does not have a square stem, but it's not white underneath it. Okay, so mugwort, with its name of Artemisia vulgaris, if you think about the word Artemisia, it's very close to the word Artemis, the goddess of the woods, the goddess associated with childbearing and women's reproductive issues. And that's pretty cool because mugwort is also used for women's reproductive system issues. And it's got that white or silver underside to it that's, like the moon color as well with it. And so Artemisia and Artemis, the goddess, Artemis is definitely associated with the moon and the goddess of the moon. And mugwort could be associated with a moon herb because it is associated with dreaming. So many people who use mugwort will do so in a tea form to help them have more lucid dreams. So lucid dreams are when you're very aware that you're dreaming or have very vivid dreams so that you remember them when you wake up. Now, it doesn't always mean you're going to have fantastic, wonderful dreams. It just means they're going to make them more vivid and maybe lucid. So if you're under a lot of stress and you're not having very good dreams, you may want to consider whether or not you want to add in mugwort. But if you added mugwort leaf, and that's the part of the plant that I'm talking about today to be used, the mugwort leaf is usually in teas. And if you add that with other nervines like lemon balm and chamomile, skullcap, passion flower, and you had that unnerving and relaxing effect with the mugwort, that might help with the dream recall and having nice, relaxing, powerful dreams is what people want to have. So you can ingest it into tea, or you can add it to dream pillows. Some people just stick the dried or fresh plant under their pillow or hang it near their bed. It's also been used to help kind of like cleanse the air and the energy around in homes and such. People use it as sacred smoke to help bring more balance into the room, but it's also used like as a fumigatory. So fumigatory is the smoke, and they use it to repel insects. They also used it much in sick rooms, and they would put parts of the plant above doorways of sick rooms, and even in some really old folklore, they talk about putting it over doorways and in rooms and in shoes to get rid of evil spirits and witches. Anytime I see that kind of information about an herb, it automatically makes me think that this is an herb that's very useful for helping to get rid of illnesses and disease. So people knew about germ theory and that these small things around us can, make our bodies imbalance and then cause sickness and disease. They didn't have any reason for it. So they said it was evil spirits, the devil, all sorts of things. And so they noticed perhaps that these herbs that are around people seem to dispel the bad effects of evil spirits. And when in fact, it could have been that these herbs, having them around, drinking them, having them close to our skins, hanging them up around us, burning them, were actually like an antimicrobial and reducing the load of those harmful microorganisms around us that we didn't want to have inside our body and outside our body. So anytime I see something saying this herb is for dispelling evil and getting rid of bad spirits, I automatically think this must have some antimicrobial properties to them. Many herbs do. Some are stronger than others. Some taste better than others. Some grow well in other areas than in one part of the world. So there's many herbs out there to be used as antimicrobials. Now you will see this kind of contradictory information out there about mugwort. Sometimes it's listed as an emmenagogue, which means it can bring on menses or stimulate uterine having like contractions, uterine contractions. So people who are pregnant at most of the phase of the pregnancy don't want to have that happen. They don't want to have stimulate their uterus and have birthing start early. So there's this be very careful of mugwort. It's too stimulating for pregnant women. And on the other hand, it is also used during certain parts of childbearing. So some instances you'll see information that mugwort helps to prevent miscarriage, and other times you hear that it's an emmenagogue when you can stimulate it. You can also find information that says it's very helpful for the digestive system with stomach cramps and upset stomach, and if you aren't digesting fats well enough, mugwort is one of those herbs that could be useful, but then you also see it as a purgative. So it's like, okay, which one of these is true? And in fact, they can both be true. It just happens to do with dosage and strength. So when we drink an herbal tea, especially one that's mixed with many different herbs, it's usually more gentle, more tonic. And then if we start drinking that, 3 cups or more cups a day, then it becomes more medicinal. Then if we make a tincture of it, we definitely concentrate it even more. And based on how many drops we take a day, you can make it even more and more medicinal. So there is a spectrum for many herbs and what they can do. They can kind of do the easiest gentle thing, and sometimes they can do the most purgative therapeutic thing that we need at the moment. And it has a lot to do with the strength and the dosage, how frequently we're taking something. So I know that throws a lot of people off when they're learning about herbalism. It did for me. I would think, well, what the heck? Does anybody know what they're even talking about with these herbs? Why should I even listen to any of these authors or teachers if there's such a dichotomy of what's being used? But in fact, it all can be true. Just depends on what we use and how much of it. So some other cool things about mugwort is that the word mug is like mug, something that we hold, and wort is another word for herb. So it's an herb that was used to make beer a long time ago. So lots of people, if they didn't have good clean water sources, they would make beers and wines to clean the water out and kill any microorganisms in there. And then they would drink lots of beer and wine for that area. So it was used in beer. It's definitely related to wormwood. And wormwood and some other species of the artemisias were used to make vermouth and absinthe. And again, in large amounts, those alcoholic drinks caused neurological issues. It can, in large doses, cause some issues with the central nervous system, but you have to take a lot of it. It has to be very concentrated. So again, there's this idea that it can be toxic, and you'll see lots of literature about wormwood and mugwort and some of the other artemisias of being toxic, but yet you'll also find things that say, oh no, this is absolutely non-toxic. So essential oils of these types of artemisias can be very toxic. They're very concentrated, and it has thujone in it. And thujone, that's extremely concentrated in like essential oils, can be toxic, can be emmenagogue, can be purgative, can harm the central nervous system, be so stimulating that it causes seizures. So the essential oil part of it is so concentrated, and that is when you have to have extreme caution when using it. It has to be diluted in a carrier oil and other things. But when we're using it in a gentle way, in a very diluted way, like in a tea, having like a teaspoon of the dried herb in a cup of water, only steeped for a little, few minutes, 5-10 minutes, and having a cup here and there, it's going to be non-toxic in that form. So those are some of the cool things about artemisia and wormwood. Let's see here. Just checking a couple notes that I wanted to touch upon. Mugwort is likely to be an old Germanic word as well. Muggy-worty. it is a German word to mean fly or gnat plant, because of the ability of mugwort to be an insect repellent and to repel, flying things around us in the form of the smoke, or just having the plant around in the area that you're in. So let me check if there's any comments. Can it help with nightmares? Like I said, I would be putting mugwort with other nervines like lemon balm, passion flowers, skullcap, those types of things, because mugwort can increase the intensity of the dream and the memory recall. So we want to be careful about that. You don't want to be having bad dreams and go that route either. Thujone, yes, Thujone is Thujone. Definitely good questions. In the Plant Priestess Circle, we just did a whole plant chat on mugwort. So I did I don't know what we went, maybe about 45 minutes. So I had pictures up on the screen, and we went through all sorts of the other uses of mugwort and talked much more in depth about it. But I wanted to bring some of this information to you as well through this mini lesson today. And some of the other things that I want to quickly talk about today as well is that the Plant Priestess Exploration Workshop is coming up December 14th. And we'll do the 4 days and then the 5 bonus days. But the cool thing about this Plant Priestess Exploration Workshop is that I am going to do the 4 days around the elements. So each day will be an element. Each day will have an herbal application, a priestess lesson, a plant part, and some herbs that are associated with that particular element. So we'll do that for the 4 days, and then we'll have all sorts of fun bonuses coming up. I will say that we're going to have a winter solstice ceremony and celebration. We're going to combine that with the Plant Priestess Circle members and Plant Priestess Exploration people. So I'll be definitely giving you more details as we go on. If you've already signed up for the Plant Priestess Exploration in the past, you're all set. You don't necessarily need to go and sign up. Of course, I'm always doing email giveaways. So if you want to be involved in a giveaway, you go get signed up on that email list, and it'll send you about 3 emails where you can reply with your answers. And then we get you into a drawing for the Learning Herbalism workbook. And then there's some other pertinent things coming out. I'm going to do a brand new lesson that I've never done for the Plant Priestess Exploration. And I'm going to have that on day 4. And then we have just so many different kinds of activities planned that you'll learn about on day 4. The Priestess Pages workbook is going to be redesigned as well. So you'll be able to use that. For those that have been in the workshop before, you'll have some new stuff that you can write down and take notes on. So that is going to be super, super exciting. And then I still have 2 spaces open for the Herbal Apprenticeship, one-to-one work that I can do with you. So I have somebody right now that's already started, and we meet twice a month, about every other week. It kind of depends on each other's schedule. And we have a phone call, or we can do Zoom if you're international. And we do a plan that's just for you. So if you're somebody who is really new to herbalism and you want to start making your own home herbal apothecary, but maybe you don't do so well on e-courses and you need that extra motivation to work with somebody one-on-one, this would be a good option for you. It's 3 months long. It's $1,000 per month, and it's very much tailored for your lifestyle and the needs of you and possibly your family, that if you have a family. If you're somebody who's looking to start your own herbal business, I know some people are interested in starting metaphysical shops or herbal shops, and they want to get that herbal information up a little bit more. They want a little bit more in knowledge. This would be a good way to work with me and talk about herbal business and how to kind of arrange herbs and herbal remedies and how to get that going into a business model, and then also get you on track for which herbs would be like the top 10 that you would want to have in your herbal business or component of your business, and be specific to, you know, areas where you live. Then there's some people who are really wanting to work on increasing their herbs in their wellness programs and into their life, and they want to work with me on those, and that's something that we could do in the Herbal Apprenticeship as well. So there's really a lot of options of what we could do in the Herbal Apprenticeship. It's that I'm giving you my knowledge and experience that I've had thus far in my life, and tailoring it to what you can do in your own life, and kind of bridge that gap from what you want to do and getting into the action of actually doing it. And some people just need that one-to-one work. In about 3 months, we can get you, you know, some really solid things that are put into action and get going on that in the way that you want. So if you're interested in the Herbal Apprenticeship, you can contact me, and we can do a phone call or in, you know, a Zoom or something, so that we can talk about it and see if it's something that you're that would work for you and work for me. Make sure I have the knowledge and experience for you. I don't want to have you sign up for something that, you know, I may not be a good fit for you as well. So that initial talk, we could, you know, go through if this is something that's right for you. And I've had those calls with people, you know, it's not right for them at the time, or there's something else, you know, that maybe it just didn't work out. And other times people are ready to dive in. So I have 2 spaces right now for that. I'm only taking 3 people in any given span of 3 months. And so I have opportunities for 2 more in my schedule. So that is what is going on. Got that Plant Priestess Exploration Workshop. We've got the weekly mini lessons happening here every Tuesday at 11 Central Standard Time. And we have new people coming into the Plant Priestess Exploration group. I will add some links to the comments after this live, so that you have the information that you need for the workshop, for the apprenticeship, and all those types of things, and ways to get a hold of me and to schedule some meetings. So thank you for joining Thank you for joining this mini lesson about a mugwort. Go forth and find some in your area. It grows everywhere. It's just a really ubiquitous herb around the world. So thanks for joining in, everybody. Take care.